If you've ever wanted to experience the far future, then cryonics might be the process for you. It's a technique used to store a person's body at an extremely low temperature with the hope of one day reviving them. You may have seen this method used in many sci-fi films, for example, The Demolition Man. But the science behind this process isn't just fictional, it actually does exist, and the technique is being performed even today. However, it is still in its very early infancy. The idea of being cryogenically suspended is that if you die from a disease or condition that is currently incurable, scientists could vitrify your body. Then one day, in the near or far future, when the technology has been created to revive your body, and the cure for you has been discovered, you will be brought back, cured, and allowed to carry on your life, only in the future. The process would start with the patient being declared legally dead. Then, an emergency response team from the Cryonics facility they signed up to would stabilise the body, supplying the brain with enough oxygen and blood to preserve minimal function until they can be transported to the suspensions facility. The body is then packed in ice and injected with an anticoagulant. Once the body is at the Cryonics facility, the team remove the water from the cells and replace it with a type of antifreeze to prevent cells from freezing and shattering. The body is then cooled on a bed of dry ice until it reaches minus 130 degrees Celsius, and then it is inserted into an individual container that is filled with liquid nitrogen at a temperature of around minus 196 degrees Celsius. Currently, it costs more than £100,000 to have your entire body preserved. The kind of price that somebody like Walt Disney would have been able to pay all those years ago. However, the fact that everybody thinks they know about the famous Mr. Disney being preserved through cryogenics after death is actually incorrect. It is only an urban legend. Walt was cremated in 1966 after he passed away. In actual fact, James Bedford became the first human to be cryogenically preserved on the 12th of January 1967. Currently, there are around 150 people that have had their entire body stored in liquid nitrogen in the United States, while around 80 have had just their heads or brains preserved. So does it actually work? Will science ever be able to bring back James Bedford? Well, currently none of the companies offering cryogenic suspension have successfully revived anyone, and don't expect to be able to anytime soon. One of the biggest problems with this process seems to be that if scientists do not warm the body at exactly the right speed and temperature, the cells could form ice crystals and shatter. However, there are studies into some frogs that have a natural antifreeze in their cells which can protect them if they become completely frozen solid. This may one day be adapted to the human body, potentially solving this problem. Another method that may be available in the future is nanotechnology. These tiny little bots might make it possible to repair human cells if it becomes damaged during the cryonic process. This may sound like a sci-fi story, but some scientists have predicted that the first cryonic revival might occur as early as the year 2045. And currently there are more than 1,000 living people who have instructed companies to preserve their bodies after their death, in the hope that one day these scientists will bring them back from the dead.